as tracking exercises, requirement fulfillment, at least these tracking exercises, requirement fulfillment. So yeah, choice I'm choosing.
Transfusion of faith and confidence in the one presence and power. To all those who hear me, I look upon money as God's idea, and it is constantly circulating in my life, and that of all the people who surround me. We use it wisely, judiciously, and constructively under God's guidance and God's wisdom. idea of wealth. Ideas are conveyed to the subconscious by repetition, faith, and expectancy. By repeating a thought pattern or an act over and over again, it becomes automatic, and your subconscious being compulsive, you will be compelled to express wealth. The pattern is the same as learning to walk, swim, play the piano, type, or drive a car. You must believe in what you're affirming. It's not mumbo-jumbo, it's not idle affirmations. You must believe in what you're affirming, like you believe that when you put seeds in the ground, they grow after their kind. And the seeds are thoughts deposited in your own subconscious mind. Realize that what you are affirming is like the apple seeds you deposit in the ground, and they grow after their kind. You can imagine these seeds going from your conscious to your subconscious mind and being reproduced on the screen of space. By watering and fertilizing these seeds, you accelerate their growth. Know what you are doing and why you are doing it. You're writing it with your conscious pen in your subconscious mind. Because you know, wealth is walk down the street and you see it. Can you count the flowers along the road as you drive? Can you count the sands on the seashore? Can you count the stars in the sky? Can you count the wealth that you're walking on? Yes, underneath you. Maybe oil, gold, silver, uranium. You ever think of the riches of the sea, the soil, the air? So repeat. Third step is repeat the following affirmation for about 5 minutes, night and morning. I am now writing in my subconscious mind the idea of God's wealth. God is the source of my supply. And I know God is the life principle within me. And I know I'm alive. And all my needs are met at every moment of time and point of space. God's wealth flows freely, joyously, and ceaselessly into my experience. And I give thanks for God's riches forever circulating in my experience. Step 4. When thoughts of lack come to you, such as, I can't afford that trip, or I can't meet that note in the bank, or I can't pay that bill, never finish a negative statement about finances. This is mandatory. Reverse it immediately in your mind by affirming, God is my instant and everlasting supply, and that bill is paid in divine order. If a negative thought comes to you 50 times in 1 hour, reverse it each time by thinking and affirming, God is my instant supply, meeting that need right now. After a while, the thought of financial lack will lose all momentum, and you will find your subconscious is being conditioned to wealth. If you look at a new car, for example, never say, I can't buy that or I can't afford it. Your subconscious takes you literally and blocks all your good. On the contrary, say to yourself, that car is for sale. It is a divine idea, and I accept it in divine order through divine love. This is the master key to wealth. It's impossible for any sincere person to practice this technique and not have all the wealth he or she needs all the days of your life. So follow it, and you're setting the law of opulence in operation. It will work for you as well as for anybody else. The law of mind is no respecter of persons. Your thoughts make you wealthy or poor. Choose the riches of life subconscious mind, and I know and I believe they will grow after their kind. A year later, when I met this young man again, I discovered that he had been transformed. He had absorbed these ideas which we had discussed, and he said, I am appreciating life now, and wonderful things have happened. I have an income of $25,000 this year, 5 times greater than the previous year. He has learned the simple truth that whatever he inscribes in his subconscious mind becomes effective and functional in his life. That power is within you. You can use it also. The young boy who's operating this machine while I am broadcasting, his name is Robbie Wright. He told me about his uncle who used to work in a bank. And his uncle wanted to make more money for his wife and his children. And he was always affirming, God is my instant supply, divinely guided in all ways, infinite spirit opens up a new door. Well, he told me that his uncle was in town about 2 months ago, and that his salary now is $200,000 a year, all his expenses paid. And he was getting $40,000 when he started to realize the truth about himself. And he's able to do great things, and living a wonderful life down south in another state. All of this is an idea. All it was an idea in his mind. Wealth is an idea. The radio is an idea. Television is an idea. An automobile is an idea. Everything you look at is an idea. Suppose you destroyed all the automobiles in the world. Due to some holocaust. Well, an engineer could run them off, couldn't they? And we'd have millions of them in no time. Use the following meditation for assurance in achieving financial wealth. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. I know that my faith in God determines my future. My faith in God means my faith in all things good. I unite myself now with true ideas, and I know the future will be the image and likeness of my habitual thinking. As a man thinketh in his heart or subconscious, so is he. From this moment forward, my thoughts are on whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are lovely and of good report. Day and night I meditate on these things, and I know these seeds, which are thoughts, which I habitually dwell upon, will become a rich harvest for me. I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my fate. For my thought and feeling are my destiny. You see, prayers and affirmations are not for the purpose of changing God or the living spirit or the life principle or influencing the divine. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. You don't change God, but you align yourself mentally with that which was always true. You don't create harmony, harmony is. You don't create love, but God is love. That love of God is within you. You don't create peace, God is peace, God indwells you. But you must claim that the peace of God floods your mind. You must claim that the harmony of God is in your home, your harmony is in your pocketbook, your business, and all phases of your life. All of good is available to each other. Our prayers and affirmations are for the purpose of bringing our own mind to the point where we can accept the gifts which were given to us from the foundation of time. God is the giver of the gift. The oil was in the ground before you were born, before any man walked the earth. So was gold and silver, uranium and lead and copper and all the metals that we use today. They were all there. Didn't it take a little intelligence in the mind of man to find these things? Yes, so if you send 2 men to Utah, and one man is a geologist, or he may be also a mineralogist, and he finds nothing. Another man goes, in the first 5 minutes he finds a vein of uranium or silver, in the same territory, in the same land. Where was the wealth? The wealth was in the mind of the second man. whatever you repeat to it in convincing tones, often enough, just the same you learn to walk. You had a thought pattern.
Wow, it's 4
swimming
o'clock.
or walking or playing tennis or golf, and you repeat it over and over again. You know what you were doing and why you were doing it. You want to learn to walk, you want to learn to dance, you want to learn to swim. So finally your subconscious assimilated the pattern, didn't it? And then you swim automatically and you walk automatically. The same procedure in praying for wealth or anything else. Once your subconscious accepts the statement as a fact, it proceeds to do everything possible to bring riches to you. Now that's the whole purpose of affirmations, so that you convince yourself of the truth of that which you affirm. Then your deeper mind will bring these things to pass. Many men say to me, I got an affirmation from someone, and it said, I am rich and prosperous now, I am successful, and I'm very wealthy. That affirmation, he said, succeeded in making me much more aware of my need, because you see, he believed more in poverty and lack than he did in the riches all around him. So I explained to him, I said, you must turn away from that pattern and come back, change your belief. Your subconscious accepts what you believe. I said, look around you and realize that God created you, the whole world. It's an invisible spirit within you. Everything is made inside and out of it. It started your heartbeat. It's the air you breathe, the water you drink, it's the fruit that you eat. And therefore turn away and turn within and change that and say, I recognize the eternal source of my supply. God is the source of my supply. All my needs, spiritual, mental, material, are met at every moment of time and point of space. God's wealth is circulating in my life, and there's always a surplus. So by day and by night I'm advancing, moving forward and growing, spiritually, mentally, materially, financially, intellectually, in every way. And all things be ready if the mind be so. It is done unto me as I believe. Before they call I will answer, while they're yet speaking I will hear. Oh, how I love thy law. idle words. You don't gain the ear of God by vain repetitions. No, you must know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You must know that your conscious mind is a pen and you're writing something, engraving something in your subconscious mind. And whatever you impress your subconscious mind with will be expressed on the screen of space. It will come forth as form, function, experience, and events, good or bad. So make sure you plant that which is lovely in a good report. She said, I affirmed that all my needs are instantaneously met now in all the days of my life for about a half an hour. And a great sense of peace came over me. I spent the $5 freely for food. The owner of the market asked me if I wanted to work there as a cashier, since the present one had just gotten married and left. I accepted it, and shortly afterwards I married the owner, my boss. And we have experienced, and are experiencing, all the riches of life. This woman looked to the source. She didn't know how her prayer would be answered, because you never know the workings of the subconscious. She believed in her heart the blessings of the infinite. Well, to believe is to live in the state of being. It also means to be alive to the eternal truths. Her good was magnified and multiplied exceedingly, because the subconscious always magnifies what you give attention to. There is a presence and a power within you, and you can use it, and you can stir up, as Paul says, the gift of God within you. God is the giver and the gift, and everything has been given to you. And therefore you can tune in and claim guidance, right action,
Please.
beauty, love, peace, abundance, security. You can say to yourself, well, God's ideas unfold within me, bring me harmony, health, peace and joy. You're in business, you're a professional man, you're an artist, you're an inventor. Just sit down quietly and say, God reveals to me new creative ideas, original, wonderful ideas, which bless humanity in countless ways. And then watch the wonderful ideas come to you. And they will come, because when you call, it answers. Remember what it says in the Bible? Call upon me, I'll answer you, I'll be with you in trouble. I set you on high because you have known my name. And the name means the nature. Well, the nature of infinite intelligence is responsiveness. Call, the response comes. Constantly affirm, feel and believe that God multiplies your good exceedingly, and you will be enriched every moment of the day, spiritually, mentally, intellectually, financially, and socially, for there's no end to the glory of man for his daily living. Watch the wonders that will happen as you impress these truths in your subconscious mind. As you listen to this tape, this cassette, let these truths sink into your subconscious, and they will, and they are. And you're engraving them. And the more often you do this, well, the quicker you will impregnate your deeper mind. You'll experience a glorious future in a financial way, in every way too. What's your thoughts? Never talk about economic lack and limitation. Never talk about being poor or in want. It is very foolish to talk to your neighbors or relatives about hard times, financial problems, and like matters. Count your blessings. Begin to think prosperous thoughts. Talk about the divine riches present everywhere. Realize that the feeling of wealth produces wealth. When you talk about not having enough to go around, and how little you have, and how you must cut corners and eat the cheapest meat, these thoughts are created, and you are only impoverishing yourself. Use the money you now have freely. Release it with joy, and realize that God's wealth flows to you in avalanches of abundance. Look up to the source. As you turn to the divine presence within you, the response will come. It is written, He careth for you. You will find neighbors, strangers, associates adding to your good, and also to your supply of material things. Make it a practice to pray for divine guidance in all your ways, and believe that God, or the Supreme Intelligence, is supplying all your needs according to His riches and glory. Claim it boldly. Come boldly to the throne of grace, Paul says. Acts 17th chapter, 25th verse. She has learned
Hello.
that she is not dependent on people for joy, health, success, and happiness or peace of mind. She looks to the living Spirit Almighty within her for promotion, achievement, wealth, success, and happiness. Whosoever trusted in the Lord, happy is he. That's from the book of Proverbs, 16th chapter, 20th verse. Contemplate promotion, success, achievement, illumination, and inspiration, and the Spirit of the Almighty will move on your behalf, compelling you to express fully what you meditate on. Let go now and permit the infinite riches of the infinite one to open up new doors for you and let wonders happen in your life. In prayer therapy, avoid struggle and strain. Don't try and force things. How could you add power to omnipotence? Can you make a seed grow? You can't. Plant it in the ground. It will grow. The oak is in the acorn. The apple is in the apple seed. The archetype or pattern is there, which you must deposit in the soil, where it dies, undergoes dissolution, and breathes its energy to another form of itself. Spiritual-minded man, he looks at an acorn, he sees the forest. Yes, that's the way your subconscious works. It magnifies your good exceedingly. So avoid strain, since this attitude is indicative of your unbelief. If you're worrying and fearful and anxious, well, that inhibits your good. That brings about blocks and delays and impediments in your life. What does fear do? That which I greatly fear has come upon me. Reverse it. That which I greatly love comes into my experience. Love is emotional attachment. In your subconscious is all the wisdom and power necessary to solve any problem. Your conscious mind is prone to look at external conditions and tends continually to struggle and to resist. Remember, however, it is the quiet mind that gets things done. Quiet your body periodically. Tell it to be still and relaxed. It has to obey you. Your body moves as moved upon. Your body acts as acted upon. Your body has no self-conscious intelligence, no volition, no will. It moves as moved upon. You can play a melody of God in your body. When your conscious mind is quiet and receptive, the wisdom of your subconscious rises to the surface mind, and you receive your solution. A beauty parlor operator told me that the secret of her success was that every morning prior to opening her beauty salon, she had a quiet period in which she affirms, God's peace fills my soul, and God's love saturates my whole being. God guides, prospers, and inspires me. I am illumined from on high, and His healing love flows from me to all my clients. Divine love comes in my door. Divine love goes out of my door. All those who come into my salon are blessed, healed, and inspired. The infinite healing presence saturates the whole place. This is the day the Lord hath made, and I rejoice and give thanks for the countless blessings which come to my clients and to myself. She had this prayer written out on a card and reiterates these truths every morning. At night she gives thanks for all her clients, claiming that they are guided, prosper, happy, and harmonious, and that God and His love flow through each one, filling up all the empty vessels in her life. She stated to me that following this prayer technique pattern, at the end of 3 months she had far more clients than she could handle, had to hire 3 additional operators. She had discovered the riches of effective prayer and is prospering beyond her fondest dreams. The sales manager told me that he had been fired because of excessive drinking on the job and because of being involved with one of the secretaries in the office. He was very distressed, dejected, and worried about his wife, his income, and his future. In talking with his wife later, I discovered that she was a chronic nagger and had tried unsuccessfully to dominate and control her husband. She was abnormally jealous and very possessive, and she clocked him in every evening. the wealth you need to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You're as rich as Croesus. Then both of them agreed to start the prayer process night and morning, realizing that as they prayed for each other, there could not possibly be any bitterness, hostility, or resentment, as divine love casts out everything unlike itself. And it does. She prayed night and morning as follows: my husband is God's man. God is guiding him to his true place. What he is seeking him. Divine love fills his soul. Divine peace fills his mind and heart. He is prospered in all his ways, spiritually, mentally, financially, socially, everywhere. By day and by night he's advancing, moving forward and growing, spiritually, mentally, financially, socially, intellectually, in all ways, for life itself is growing. There are harmony, peace, love, and understanding between us. It is divine right action and divine peace operating in our lives. And he prayed for his wife night and morning as follows: my wife is God's child. She's the daughter of the infinite, a child of eternity. Divine love fills her soul, and it is written, he careth for her. Divine love, peace, harmony, and joy flow through her at all times. She's divinely guided and prospered in all her ways. For to prosper is to grow along all lines. There are harmony, peace, love, and understanding between us. I salute the divinity in her, and she salutes the divinity in me. As both of them became relaxed and peaceful throughout the situation, they realized that only good can come out of this situation. Soon he received a phone call from the president of the company calling him back, stating that he had heard he had had a reconciliation with his wife, and at the same time he praised him for his past achievements and accomplishments for the organization. Actually, his wife, without his knowledge, had visited the president of the company and had told him the whole story, how happy they now were, and how the other woman had vanished out of his life. She told him how they were now praying together. He was impressed, and she and her husband discovered very quickly the riches of scientific prayer. The riches of the infinite are within you. You can know if you have succeeded in prayer by the way you feel. If you remain worried or anxious, if you're wondering how, when, and where, or through what source your answer will come, you are meddling. This indicates you do not really trust the wisdom of your subconscious. Avoid nagging yourself all day long, or even from time to time. When you think of your desire, lightness of touch is important. Remind yourself that infinite intelligence has taken care of it, in divine order, far better than you can by tenseness of your conscious mind. For example, if you say, well, I need $5,000 by the 15th of next month, or the judge must make a decision for me by the 1st of the month, otherwise I lose my home, my mortgage, and so on. That's fear and anxiety and tension. What will that do?
What?
Bring blocks and delays, impediments and difficulties into your life. Always go to the source. Remember, in peace and in confidence shall be your strength. When you're anxious and tense and worried, that will not bring about prosperity or peace of mind or health or anything. Go back to the source. Come to a place of absolute rest in your life. And say to yourself, reiterate these truths. It is done unto me as I believe. Go thy way as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. All things be ready if the mind be so, which means all I have to do is ready my mind to receive the benediction, the guidance, the wealth, the answer, the solution, the way out. According to my faith is done unto me. Go thy way, thy faith that made thee whole. Go in peace, thy faith that made thee whole.
Please.
And all things are ready if the mind be so. The light of God shines in me. Peace of the everlasting God fills my soul.
Y'all didn't see that.
Quietness and confidence shall be my strength. God gave me richly all things
There are a lot of things dividing this nation. For the longest time, it was the culture war, and then people started saying it was a cold civil war. Call it whatever you want. There are a lot of different things dividing this nation. People are always trying to figure out what it is, critical race theory being a core component. Well, now, the Democrat tribe has opted for vaccine segregation. In many instances, there's outright bans on people who aren't vaccinated from entering certain facilities. In Washington state, for instance, they're going full vaccine passport. Many universities, colleges are saying you must be vaccinated to attend the school. United Airlines is saying they won't hire you if you haven't got the vaccine. We're now learning of a Foo Fighters concert in New York. And I know I tweeted this and people were immediately like, who cares? I'm not a fan of the Foo Fighters. Sure, whatever. That's not the point. You can't go to the concert unless you are vaccinated. Now, of course, if you get vaccinated, by all means, go talk to your doctor, ask for their medical opinions based on whatever criteria you're concerned about. And if it makes sense for you, then, do what you want to do. Don't let anyone discourage you.
Reiterate these simple truths. Say the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. When I call upon him and he answers me, he'll be with me in trouble. He'll set me on high because he hath known my name. God is my instant everlasting supply, never present help in time of trouble. Reiterate these truths. Read a psalm like the 23rd, 91st Psalm. And go over these psalms quietly, peacefully, and lovingly. You'll get to a point of rest and peace in your mind. And you realize that God is never late, and that God is your instant and everlasting supply, guiding and directing you, revealing to you everything you need to know, opening up the door for you, revealing to you the solution. And God's riches are circulating in your life, and there's always a surplus. Then, when you act that attitude of mind, the way will open up, the dawn will appear, and the shadows will flee away. But you won't get an answer by worry, and fear, tension, and anxiety. This will only attract more life, more difficulties. So reverse it. Go back to the source. Reiterate the truths you know. Dwell upon the truths of God, such as God is absolute peace, absolute harmony, boundless wisdom, infinite intelligence, the ever-living one, the all-wise one, the all-knowing one, the self-renewing one, knows all and sees all, the source of all blessings. That will quiet your mind, that will give you peace. And the mind at peace always gets the answer, for in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. And God knows only the answer. So learn to let go and relax. Do not give power to the externals or conditions. Give power and allegiance to the infinite presence and power within you. The swimming instructor tells you that you can float on the water, which will support you if you remain quiet, still, and at peace. But if you get nervous, tense, fearful, when you are seeking wealth, prosperity, success, or spiritual healing, or anything, feel that you're immersed in the holy omnipresence, like your feet are in the ocean or in a swimming pool, and realize the golden river of life, love, truth, and beauty are flowing through you now, transforming your whole being into the pattern of harmony, love, peace, and abundance. Feel yourself swimming in the great ocean of life. That sense of oneness will restore you, or he restoring my soul. The following meditation will bring many wonderful things into your life. Listen to it. Say these truths are sinking into my subconscious mind. I picture them going from my conscious to my subconscious like seeds I'm depositing in the soil. I know that I'm old, fashioned, and create my own destiny. My faith is in the infinite being which created all things, and my faith in God is my fortune. This means an abiding faith in all things good. I live in the joyous expectancy of the best, and only the best comes to me. I know the harvest I will reap in the future, because all my thoughts are God's thoughts, and the power of God is with my thoughts of good. My thoughts are the seeds of goodness, truth, beauty, and abundance. I now place my thoughts of love, peace, joy, success, abundance, security, goodwill in the garden of my mind.
Hello.
The glory and beauty of God will be expressed in my life, and I will know it, my garden will yield an abundant harvest. From this moment forward, I express life, love, and truth. I am radiantly happy and prosperous in all my ways, and God multiplies my good exceedingly. To prosper means to succeed, to thrive, to turn out well. In other words, when you are prospering, you're expanding, growing spiritually, mentally, financially, socially, and intellectually. Never be envious or jealous of another person's wealth or promotion or their diamonds or jewels, for that would impoverish you. That would attract lack and limitation to you. Rejoice in their success, in their prosperity, and their wealth, and wish for them greater riches, because what you wish for the other, you're wishing for yourself, for you're the only thinker. What you think about the other, you're creating in your own mind and body and experience, and also your pocketbook. This is why you rejoice in the success and the prosperity and the millions that others have. In order to truly prosper, it is necessary that you become a channel through which the life principle flows freely, harmoniously, joyously, and lovingly. I suggest that you establish a definite method of working and thinking, that you practice it regularly and systematically every day. One young man who consulted me had experienced a poverty complex for many years and received no answers to his prayer. He had prayed for prosperity, but the fear of poverty continuously weighed on his mind. And naturally, he attracted more lack and limitation than prosperity. The subconscious mind accepts the dominant of two ideas. Change your mind from belief in poverty, but begin to believe in God's riches, which are all around. Infinite riches. After talking with me, he began to realize that his thought image of wealth produces
That
wealth.
would have been such a good earn
That
if I
every
did those
thought
last
is
two
created, unless
strings.
it is neutralized by a counter
Earn this to
thought
10
of
minutes,
greater
then go into
intensity.
game deals.
Furthermore, he realized that his thought and belief about poverty was greater than his belief in the infinite riches all around him. Consequently, he changed his thoughts and kept them changed. I wrote out a prosperity prayer for him as follows. It will benefit you. I know there is only one source, this is the prayer, the life principle, the living spirit, from which all things flow. It created the universe, and all things are in contained. I am a focal point of the divine presence. My mind is open and receptive. I am a free-flowing channel for harmony, beauty, guidance, wealth, and the riches of the infinite. I know that wealth, health, and success are released from within and appear in the without. I am now in harmony with the infinite riches within and without. And I know these thoughts are sinking into my subconscious mind and will be reflected on the screen of space. I wish for everyone all the blessings of life. I am open and receptive to the divine riches, spiritual, mental, and material, and they flow to me in avalanches of abundance. This young man focused his thoughts on God's riches rather than on poverty, and made it a special point never to deny what he affirmed. Many people pray, for wealth, and they deny it an hour later. They say, I can't afford this, I can't make ends meet. They're making a mockery of their prayer. They're like the man that gets into a taxi in New York, and he's going to the airport, and on the way he says to the taxi driver, oh, take me back home, I forgot my passport, so he goes back. Then he said on the way again, oh, I better go to my club, I forgot my wallet. So the taxi driver takes him to his club, and he says, oh, I forgot some letters at my grandmother's. So off he goes to the grandmother. And he gives a half a dozen directions in a half an hour to the taxi driver, and finally the taxi driver takes him into the police station because he realizes he's mental. Well, now this is the way millions of people pray, even in the New Thought movement. They give a half a dozen directions to their subconscious mind in a half an hour. The subconscious is so confused and perplexed, it doesn't know what to do, it doesn't do anything. So it results in plain frustration. was transformed. He affirmed the above truths which I just mentioned, morning and evening for about 10 minutes, slowly and quietly, engraving them in his mind, knowing what he was doing, believing what he was doing, knowing that he was actually writing down these truths in his subconscious mind, causing the latter to be activated and to release its hidden treasures. The gold mine is in your subconscious, the diamond mine is there. It's the source of all the riches of heaven. Although this man had been a salesman for 10 years with rather dim prospects for the future, suddenly he was made sales manager at $30,000 a year plus prime benefits. Your subconscious has ways that you know not of. It's impossible to impregnate your subconscious mind with the idea of wealth and be poor. It's impossible to impregnate your subconscious with the idea of success. Good heavens, you are born to win, to succeed. The infinite can't fail. You're born to triumph. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Let your prayer be by day and by night I'm advancing, moving forward and growing. God gave me richly all things to enjoy. When thoughts of lack come to you, such as, I can't afford that trip, or I can't
really yours. It's really yours.
It's really not.
For real?
And I didn't even buy it.
What do you mean?
They just gifted it to me.
Okay.
Probably because I grew out of beard. Don't walk in front of the door. I'm surprised you did something special to hire me. No, you're not. One step. Step right here. Step. Yep. So you know how you've been working super hard on your boxing matches coming up? You know how you put it in the work, bro? You got a membership up now? Yeah, you've been putting in the work, right? So I thought I'd surprise you with a gift I bought myself. And it's a car. And I actually bought it.
Tracking. So yeah, that's how I split the routine because it's so long. I do tracking Monday, clicking the next day, but I always do the TPS quick. Either if I'm doing tracking, I do TPS quick to end, and if I'm doing clicking, I do it always to warm up. And by clicking, I mean click farming, clicking, whatever. Reading myself guide, here to explain it.
and knock him out. He can handle that on the ground, whether it's wrestling, whether it's jiu-jitsu. I think Leon matches him in every department. If all the fighters we train had his mentality, we'd have a gym full of champions, bro.
Monday before the fight, just get a good little sweat out tonight. We'll go over the game plan. Just keep refreshing it in the brain, so when it's time to fight, just automatic. I think for me, this is one of my main goals, to win the world title from Britain. I know Michael Bisping did it before, but he did it living in the States, My aim is to capture the world title, to show the kids coming under me that, look, you can stay where you are. Hard work and good team, you can achieve it. See your ninth run on Saturday night, and I'll get my world title challenge here.
This thing is like, it's to train your lungs and your diaphragm. Breathe in harder. It's pretty experimental still, to be honest, but it just makes sense because you're really working. Like, I'm sweating when I do this thing. It's not easy at all. He's my friend. He just got out of one of the most famous, like, probably the biggest reality show in Italy, right? I mean, he's my long-time friend. It's actually the only reality show that is cool because, like, you go up there and they have like 50 grams of rice per day, kind of like survival stuff.
Comunque ti sto facendo, ma sono in una forma, non puoi capire Zacca, sono in una forma pazzesca. There we go. Most important thing of all, Italian flag. Let's put it in here.
I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Pick up the.
We are 4 days out. After Arizona, Phoenix, hotel like years ago. We're gonna ride 10. I just can't wait to do that, man. I just can't.
I don't have a gun. How am I just in this weird? Please kill me.
Famous in Mexico, and you know it's another dream come true to be a part of. You know, I'm a car man. Come on. So exactly 6 months is the last fight. You know, I take advantage of those 6 months. My first press conference, the ceremonial wins. I'm excited actually, you know. But what happens if the other guys start talking about me? Will be my first time. Like I don't know if I will be angry or like I don't care. I don't know. People Mexican friends.
I'm not your friend.
You have an awareness that comes from consciousness. And you have an awareness
connected to all things, seen and unseen, here and not here. Strange. Everything expresses, to a lesser or greater extent, the God force. The machine playing this lesson has some part of God force in it, because there's God force in the molecules. That is not as much God force as in something that's alive, like a worm. And a worm has less God force than a bird, because the bird is more complicated, and you are more God force than an animal. And some humans have a greater amount of God force than you and I have. resisted to let it go. It not only wants to hold on to its sense of power, but it likes to dominate your life and the lives of others because it feels insecure. So, it may be frightening to let go, but the fear is just a manifestation of the ego. In my view, it's more frightening to stay where you are, isn't it? One has to learn to trust and be able to trust. As spiritual beings, we're flying blind, but that's what makes the whole of this process so fascinating. We have to embrace infinity
Scrim's going by.
Good.
Clipping men and thing. We in we in off season 2. We have at least 2 weeks until anything happening. Nice. Matthew, you warm? Matthew? Mr. Sherwood? Yeah, you warm? Hello? Yes. Yeah, are you warm? Yes. Alright. Well, I'm going in matchmaking on time 622s while we wait on Zachary. Yeah, me too actually. I've been doing some work on my posture, so. Matt, you wanna go in while so we gotta wait on these kids? Hopefully both of them are here. Spraying out that side, never mind, he connected. One just fell, I think, to his death.
Yeah, one fell to death.
Oh, that's you, okay. He's like in one of these lower levels somewhere. He might be on his teammate. Oh, hey, what? I'll go and shake his teammate. Behind him. Woo! he's gonna come for you.
I'm telling you,
Oh, good.
he does not do this. My buddy has
Oh, my warden. Yeah, I was just seeing them clearly. I might have to. I think I'm gonna turn my graphics up to high and see if that helps the FPS drops. I shouldn't be dropping FPS. Nah, that definitely didn't help. I have to. You gotta give me a second. I might just have to turn off the stream for now. Box on me. Yeah. Oh, that was a dumb trade by me. That was also a dumb trade by me. I was trying to just trade hard.